Welcome, everybody, to the All Elite Zone podcast. This is a very special episode of Talking Elite. As you know, we have a huge pay per view coming on tomorrow that is AEW's 2023 Revolution. So, we're going to go through our predictions of time of recording of what the matches will turn out to be, see the results, and anything that could magically happen. Just giving you guys a heads up, Connor might not be on. He had something come up, so he might pop in a little bit here in a little bit, and then we'll have Aiden, of course, joining us here very shortly. But before we bring those guys in, let me introduce you to my favorite tag team partner. He is the heart and soul of Talking Elite. Please welcome Adam.
Hello, Lane. Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. I know there was a change up to our shows this week with Ring of Honor officially starting back up. So I am super excited for Ring of Honor and very proud that we finally, even though it's on a streaming service, we finally have Ring of Honor television. What were your thoughts about Ring of Honor coming back? Did you see anything from Thursday?
I watched some highlights of it. Like I said, I'm still running on mobile hotspot. I don't have internet yet. Yeah, from what I can tell, I'm really excited that they're getting Ring of Honor is getting their own stories and everything like that. So I'm very excited about it. I know for a fact that I'm going to try to get the streaming service for sure. I know they're going to be doing a lot of the shows in Florida too. So, maybe one day I'll make my way over there and check out some of the Ring of Honor shows in Orlando.
See, that's one thing that I get that old like TNA kind of vibe to it now, just because, like I said, they were doing it on a soundstage at Universal. So, and for you to be that close, I would be so excited to see you go and have fun. It's something that I want to. Hopefully they'll tour it eventually, or maybe even do it before Dynamite. But I would love to see some Ring of Honor.
Yeah, for sure. I know they also did a couple of. I don't know if it was dark or elevation matches as well during the Ring of Honor shows at Orlando at Universal. So you kind of get both, wrestlers from both Ring of Honor and AEW, at the sound stage. So yeah, no, I would love to eventually, check the schedule and eventually go to a taping because they're not expensive actually. So not expensive tickets.
Yeah, that's one thing that I have to admit that TK's I think done well is he's kept ticket prices pretty reasonable. And I'm happy to hear that with Ring of Honor because that's going to be if we can keep that off hot, because there was a lot of great matches that I was looking at the match cards. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have friend of the show Tony Deppen on there. You have, of course, now you have Eddie Kingston that sounds like he'll be fully transitioning over. You have one of my favorite female wrestlers, Lady Frost, now as part of ROH, it sounds like. So what do you think about like having AEW talent mixed with indies, mixed with some ROH guys that were on the brand before the hiatus? Like, what is your take on that? Do you think they should?
And it's crazy you asked me because I was just thinking about that very thing. I mean, you look at when, Ring of Honor hit tough times and everybody just kind of just left, because Ring of Honor has kind of closed their door. And Tony Khan came in, swooped in, bought it. I mean, a lot of the talent that were there moved on to other, promotions. So I don't mind some of the talent from AEW that aren't getting utilized, whether it's beyond Elevation or Dark, to be brought over to Ring of Honor. Just to kind of give that brand a little bit of elevation. So I think it's actually a good thing. And like you mentioned, friend of the show, Tony Deppen, had a match over there, and, hopefully future guest of the show, Lady Frost, had her match over there with Willow Nightingale. So I think it's a good call to have some of those wrestlers utilized from AEW in the Ring of Honor brand.
Especially with I love. Did you watch the promo that Eddie Kingston put out right after that ladder match?
I read it. I mean, I follow some of his tweets, so yeah. I kind of follow around with his response.
Like, I thought it was I think after watching that, I think Eddie Kingston's probably going to be the face of Ring of Honor if I think that'd be a good spot for him. Let him have some gold. I don't know if you would have him be on both shows, have his storyline, with Santana and Ortiz crossover into ROH. Of course, you have all the drama with Claudio that they teased at last year's Blood and Guts. So there's a lot they could do, I feel like, with Eddie Kingston and actually have him be a face of a company.
Yeah, no, I don't blame that at all. I think it'll be a good match between him and Claudio. I mean, that's what they're setting up for Supercard. So I think that'd be a really good main event, Ring of Honor World Championship between those two, and maybe pull the trigger and let Eddie Kingston be the head, be the king of Ring of Honor for the time being, and see how it rolls. Fans are behind him, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, all right, hey, give him the world title and let Claudio come do his thing in AEW.
Yeah, I feel like I think now, like, just looking at some of the talent, like looking at like Brian Pillman Jr., the Dark Order, there's a lot of talent that I feel like now could actually have a time to shine. And then you also have, people like Bandito, you have Roosh, you have, now look at the potential of having, Brian Danielson come over for, a couple matches here and there, or Adam Cole, or even eventually CM Punk. There's a lot of potential on what could be with this Ring of Honor brand. And hopefully this will also help with some of the booking decisions that Tony's had issues with in the past, especially with having that huge, massive roster. Hopefully it all starts to make sense. I'm hoping. It's not 100% guarantee at time of recording.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. I think the reason why Tony was bringing all those Ring of Honor guys over to AEW, and you hear people saying, "Oh, they're bloating the roster." It's like, well, there is a plan. They just have to get deals done, and then that's when the roster sorting will happen to where can we put this group of wrestlers in this roster and this roster here? What stories are essential to both brands. So I honestly do think a lot of performers in AEW that don't get a lot of time on TV, then go over to Ring of Honor and really shine.
Definitely, it's one of those things that I'm hoping that people, I don't know, I hope people like come to Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor has been, I feel like it was for a lot of people that's in both major companies, really, like it was a lot of their time to shine. Look at people like Styles, Seth Rollins. You had of course you had Bryan Danielson. You had CM Punk. You had Joe. How many like world class wrestlers came out of Ring of Honor and actually, to be honest with you, inspired the modern the modern NXT when that was all hot, when they were almost signing up everybody from NXT to go.
Yeah, no, and honestly, it'd be great to have those Ring of Honor vets, over at Ring of Honor from time to time to, kind of help grow that brand as well. And honestly, I mean, you really, you almost don't need them. But, I see it as Ring of Honor being, the time for independent wrestlers to come over and actually shine under the Ring of Honor banner.
Yeah, I feel like now you have, especially with New Japan and Impact Wrestling, I feel like that would be the best place to invest in some of those guys that don't get a lot of TV time, especially with like a Forbidden Door 2 that's rumored to be happening in June, I believe. Is there June or July? I think what Bleacher Report stated. So you're gonna have a lot of crossover matches. I feel like that'd be a great way to help build up that card, because I feel like that was the only little downside with last year's Forbidden Door with some of the builds, weren't 100% there. So this might, I think this will happen. You could bring over stars to help get them, used to a modern audience.
Yeah, no, for sure. And even though it's a streaming service for Ring of Honor, it's still a platform for wrestlers that don't normally get that kind of platform. And like I said, like you get the Forbidden Door coming around with New Japan wrestlers. Will they have it in Chicago again? Probably. I'd like to see if they're going to keep the Forbidden Door going. I'd like to see them change cities every other year, like maybe do Chicago one year and then another city, and
Well, looking at it, there is a lot of that's one thing that with AEW, it's like bringing back the territory system.
Yeah.
You
So, but
have it's you have Dallas, you have California, there's so many places that would still have that hot crowd.
right, and that's what it is. It's also sticking with the territories. I mean, with AEW, they're mostly in the Midwest and East, East Coast South. They get Florida. You got a lot of Chicago. There's a lot of Cleveland. There's Carolinas, all that stuff. So it is kind of a sense of old school, like territorial wrestling. So
yeah, and like I said, especially I would love to see it in Japan. I think really if we're gonna do a Forbidden Door, I think Japan would be. I think that would be the one that I would definitely want to do right around Wrestle Kingdom. Because in that way, if you have talent that's already on Wrestle Kingdom's card, then you can have them go over, have like your A and B team where you have some guys stay here in the States and have some guys go over to, Japan and almost do a 2-night event.
it would be kind of hard though, just because just travel stuff and just also just the show. I mean, if you had the idea of maybe like a 2-night where it'd be like in 2 different locations, like I think of it like when they did it, I keep forgetting which one it was. An old school WrestleMania where they did it in 2 or 3 different cities and they broadcasted it. I can feel like they can do that with Forbidden Door, where they have a 2-night event, one taking place in Japan and one taking place in the States, and either double telecast it or have it different and do it that way.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Let's start diving into the card here. I'm not sure if Aiden's gonna make it, but we'll just start on the card, and then we can always have him continue on where we're at. So, the first one that I want to talk about, we'll talk about the no holds barred, basically match between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy in that Buried Alive match. How are you feeling going into this match?
I feel like it's going to be a cinematic. I don't think it's going to be live. If it is, it might start off in the arena, and as they go backstage, that's when like the pre-recorded stuff might kick in. Just because I don't know how much of 100% Christian is with his was it shoulder?
Shoulder.
Yeah, so I don't know how 100% he is with that. So I feel like during Christian's entrance, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry will come out, beat him up, and then they'll make their way like through the crowd and do that stuff, and then make it backstage, and then you might see a cut of all the pre-recorded stuff. But I mean, again, I never know because I don't know how they're going to go about this what they're calling the final burial match. So I don't know how they're going to go about it. It might be a cinematic. I don't know. It might be live. I don't know. It's something different. I mean, it's not different because we've seen Buried Alive matches in WWF. But it's something different that it's. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see because I have no idea.
Yeah, I feel like going into this one, I want it to be live. I know it would be a better cinematic match, but I think if they could, go back to how, some of the magic with the Undertaker was, and bring back, bring that drama, bring that anticipation, have them, of course, like I said, brawl all across the arena into, the foyer. Yeah, I want to see that, and I want to see Jungle Boy. I want to see him bury Christian alive. I really want to see Jungle Boy bury Christian alive on that one.
Yeah, I think this is the point where Jungle Boy, Jack Perry wins and puts that feud to bed. I mean, he already passed Luchasaurus at Full Gear with the cage match. I think with this match, it's just completely done with Christian and just done. That way we can move along to possibly get Jack Perry some singles titles in 2023.
Yeah. Who would you like to see, Jungle Boy face next? Like, do you want him to have another singles, feud, or do you want to just build him up, have him just get some not easy victories, but get some pretty good victories, and then have him, win like a ladder match or a battle royale at the next pay-per-view?
I'd like to see him win a couple of good TV matches, and then obviously either at All In or All Out, have him, win a battle royal and earn that title shot against MJF. I think Jungle Boy Jack Perry, there's something special about him. I think I've mentioned it numerous times on this show. There's something special about Jack Perry that if anyone is gonna, take the title off of MJF, Jack Perry might be your best option. He gets great crowd reaction. And again, the talent in the ring just shows it. I think he's poised to have a very, very successful 2023.
Yeah, I can definitely see. I think he'll be one of the most talked about wrestlers this year, and then even the start of next year. Like I said, going back to the whole like, who do you build up to face against MJF? And I think you have to kind of tell that pillar storyline with having people like Sammy and Jungle Boy, specifically Jungle Boy. Really, I feel like he's been one of the most consistently booked wrestlers on AEW. Where he's had a couple of like big losses, but the thing is, it hasn't derailed his momentum or the fans' love for the guy.
Right. No, and like you said, it's that story's there about the pillars of AEW. And I think the build to that story between those two, I think you're gonna sell a pay-per-view with those two. I mean, they're two young talents, both early 20s. So I think the story is there.
So do you got Jungle Boy winning this feud in this match?
I do. Yes, I got Jungle Boy Jack Perry winning.
Okay, next one. I'm not sure if it's going to be on the buy-in or if it's going to be on the regular card, but Stokely Hathaway versus Hook. I feel like this one's pretty straightforward with Hook winning and then probably something between Ethan Page and Matt Hardy.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you. I think they'll be on the 0 hour card before the pay-per-view. This match alone seems like a 0 hour match. And yeah, I see Hook. I see Stokely playing the whole running away from Hook angle. When the bell ring, gets out of the ring and then hides behind like Big Bill or Ethan Page and all that stuff, hiding behind the Firm, and Hook pretty much doing the whole beating the odds of the Firm and then finally getting his hands on Stokely and just destroying him and winning. And then obviously the Firm coming in and some hesitation from Matt Hardy to where him and Ethan Page get some heat with each other. But yeah, no, I see Hook winning this match easily.
Yeah, like I feel like this one's gonna be more focused on basically, I think your outside participants in this one. I feel like it's gonna be more of that driven with the story wise. I feel like I said it's gonna be a solid match. I feel like maybe a good bathroom break match or just a quick, filler match to just help us get our adrenaline down to lead into probably one of the bigger matches of the night. If it happens to be on the main card. If not, be a fun match to start the show off.
Yeah.
Next we have this one. I think I'm ready for this storyline to end, but I think the match is going to be great. Chris Jericho versus Ricky Starks with the JAS band from ringside.
Yeah, no, I think this one is pretty self-explanatory that it needs to be done. And I think it does end at Revolution. I see Ricky Starks winning. After do we see someone added to JAS? I don't know. I can't think of anyone else on the card that would come out to kind of help Jericho distract Ricky Starks long enough for Jericho to steal the win. I think Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho are about to put on a really good one-on-one match without the group. We saw it with Jericho against Action Andretti, where JAS was nowhere to be seen during that match. So I think you're going to get, but with this one, you'll get a longer, better battle between those two. A lot of back and forth, a bunch of near falls, but I think Ricky Starks wins this one.
Yeah, I feel like this one's. I think he's going to kick out of the Judas Effect, the Code Breaker feel like everything that Jericho's going to throw at him, I think Ricky Starks is just going to kick out. And I think Ricky Starks, I can't remember what his finisher move is. Do you know what his finisher move
He's
is off the
got
top of
two
your
of
head?
them. He's got the spear, but he's got Rushambo is his finisher.
I think Rushambo. Yeah, I think Rushambo. I think that's how he's gonna end the match, unless he steals a win with a roll up. Or I would like this just because I think Ricky Starks would be just a cocky face at this one, but have him use the Judas effect to knock out Chris Jericho for a victory. I think that'd be a different spin. But I think Ricky Starks is gonna win this one clean. I think this is going to end the feud with the JS and Action Andrade and and of course, our fabulous Ricky Starks. But I think this is going to lead up to, I think this is going to be the start of hopefully Garcia versus Jericho. I still feel like they're hinting at that for either the next big special or for the next pay-per-view. So I feel like that might be the other talking point coming out of this match.
Yeah, and I think from this one too, from Starks, I think this is also his redemption story of winning gold again. To this story, I see, because of what we saw on Wednesday with Hobbs winning that ladder match, I see Hobbs winning the TNT title and him and Starks reigniting their feud. I feel like that one, it had a couple of good moments, but I feel like it didn't really end the way it should have, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I completely agree with that.
And I don't want to say Hobbs is a transitional TNT champ. I want to see him have a decent run with the belt, but I do want to see Ricky Starks and Hobbs one more time, and see Ricky Starks actually go into 2024 with the TNT title.
Yeah, I agree. I know Ethan agrees with what we were just talking about. I'm hoping this is the last match for now with Jericho and Starks in this storyline. Yeah, I agree with you, Ethan, on that one. It's time they put the story to rest. I feel like when we watch the video package tomorrow night for the match, I feel like it's all going to make sense. And I think it's, like I said, I think it'll be a great way to cap off, one of the longer stories, and hopefully the next Jericho story and the JS story, hopefully they kind of, tweak it a little bit, because if it's the same thing over and over again, I get it's sports entertainment, segment and faction, but I feel like you need to improve it just a little bit more.
Yeah, no, and like Ethan said, I think we're both in agreement. All of us are in agreement that we hope that this is the end of that story, and then both men can go off to their next individual storylines and everything like that.
Yeah. The next one, this one's the most controversial, I think, tag match we're gonna have on a pay-per-view. A lot of, not negativity, but a lot of criticism around this one. But the AEW tag team champions, with the Gun Club going in as champions, the Acclaimed, good old Slapnuts, Double J and Jay Lethal, and then Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. This one's a very interesting build. Very weirdly that with the other two teams they have going into this, one's a rematch and the other one, is taken over for best friends. So what is your thought? What is your thoughts with this build and then going into the match?
It's interesting because I'm indifferent about it. I'm giddy because we finally get to see Danhausen on like a main card. Like I'm a huge Danhausen mark. Like I love Danhausen. So to see him and Orange Cassidy now in like a big pay-per-view match instead of seeing Danhausen on the pre-show, like it's thrilling to me. Like I feel like this is kind of also another redemption for Danhausen because he's such a popular wrestler. Everybody loves him, love that Danhausen, as his YouTube channel says. But I'm so thrilled about it, and I'm glad that him and Orange Cassidy, despite it's not, Orange Cassidy not doing double duty, defending the All Atlantic, but I mean, him and Danhausen tagging to be in this match is actually thrilling. But then on the other side, I'm like, I feel like we've seen this feud between the Guns, Acclaimed, and Jeff Jarrett too much. I mean, how many matches did the Acclaim and Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal have with each other? How long has the Gun Club been healing it up with the Acclaim. So I mean, it's almost like Danhausen and Orange Cassidy is like just thrown in there, but it does make me happy that Danhausen's getting a match. So I'm kind of indifferent about it. I know everybody's like all up in arms, like, oh, it should have been FTR, should have been FTR. First of all, I don't think FTR has had enough time for their break from AEW to just be thrust back into the pay-per-view match like that. Like I said, I do see it maybe a setup for FTR to come back, because as much as I want to see Danhausen and Orange Cassidy win as a shocker, and just to see Danhausen hold gold, I do see the Guns retaining here and setting up a future storyline with FTR.
I think that's I'm almost on the same page with you on that one. I feel like there's two things that I can see happening with this coming Sunday. I see FTR hopefully returning that night, because I think the Guns are going to win this one. I think the Guns are going to come in. I think they're going to win, and I think FTR, this will set up their return. I have seen a couple of reports that have stated that FTR is going to be the ones to dethrone, the Guns, but they said the same thing last year with the Acclaimed. So I think the Guns will retain this one, and I think the other major story I'm looking forward to is going to be I think it's going to be something with best friends. I think Orange Cassidy, Danhausen, the best friends kind of split and they go their own ways. And I think that this is going to set up to a match either on Dynamite or just a short-term feud, but between best friends and then Danhausen and Orange Cassidy.
I mean, I could see that, but yeah, I do feel like it is time that you kind of split, because there are too many factions in AEW right now that you could start splitting teams up, especially Danhausen, Orange Cassidy, and best friends. I feel like at this point, Trent and Chuck could fare well as a tag team like they've done in the past through their whole wrestling history. I see after this match, Orange Cassidy kind of going off on his own again with the All Atlantic, and then Danhausen doing his thing, or even sticking with Orange Cassidy, and having Orange Cassidy and Danhausen as like the two weird friends, the
weird friends. Yes, I like that. Aiden, who do you think is going to win this match, and what is your opinions on the whole build up to this World Tag Team title match at Revolution?
I don't really have a huge opinion on the build for it. I think it's been built fine. I do enjoy watching.
I think
I don't particularly like the where the tag team scene is at right now. When you consider that you've gone from Revolution in 2020 of Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus the Bucks to where now the Guns are tag team champions. And I'm not trying to knock the Guns or anything. It's just they're not on the same level as the Bucks, I would say. And it just feels like the tag team scene has fallen a long way. It feels like the TNT title scene back in just before Joe got the belt.
It does kind of fill out that weird. I guess it's just weird to see the transition a little bit. I feel like one thing that FTR did well with before they took their break was bring the Acclaimed up to their level. I feel like they're the only team right now that has that energy going in. Have the energy going in, and then just a weird shock of a loss that made a lot of people upset. So who do you see winning this match?
I see the Guns retaining. I don't see Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal holding gold, as funny as that would be. I don't see Orange Cassidy and Danhausen holding gold because OC already has gold. Danhausen doesn't really need it to get over. And then the only other option that could really feasibly win is the Acclaimed. But because I'm predicting FTR comes back, I don't think they're going to want to run Acclaimed versus FTR, because I feel like that would be face versus face, unless they run FTR as heels, which I could see it happening, because right now AEW kind of has an obsession with running, this company sucks angles, and FTR would definitely be one of those teams to be in that angle.
Yeah, I could see that. Especially, well, I think it's gonna be the Guns because did you see that picture they posted after they won the titles with them drinking Dax's favorite tequila?
Yeah, I did. That was cheeky.
Yeah,
I like that.
I love that cheeky little hint. And with reports saying that FTR is in talks with Tony Khan and coming back, I think that's going to be. I think that's gonna be a possibility for tomorrow night. I think there's a couple of returns, but I'll get to that a little bit later. Hasten says, "Hey guys, how are you guys doing today?"
Good.
I'm doing good.
The Saturday, so it's good. Saturday before pay-per-view, so
Revolution Eve.
I'm so excited for this one. We're me and my fiance, we're gonna go get some snacks and some yummy adult beverages for tomorrow if we watch it here. So
Understandable.
Yep. Sunky, he thinks for the main event, he's predicting MJF will win. We'll get to our predictions on that a little bit later. Thank you so much, Sunky, for watching. It's always a pleasure to see a new face in our comments every week when we do this podcast. So thank you. All right. The next one, we have TNT champion Samoa Joe versus Wardlow.
This one can go either way. I feel like they're leaning towards Wardlow getting the title back and having a program with Hobbs that didn't really finish because Samoa Joe kind of inserted himself into that story. And so I do see Wardlow winning and setting up the continuation of his feud with Powerhouse Hobbs for the TNT title. I feel like this is going to be a back and forth, like hard-hitting match. There's going to be a lot of, outside beating up. I think you'll get a Hobbs appearance either on the stage watching or up in like the stands watching. But I do see Wardlow coming out and winning the title again for would be his second time as TNT champ.
Yeah.
So it'd be his, so I see him winning it for a second time.
What about you, Aiden? Man, I hate to agree, but I think it's going to Wardlow because I feel like this TNT title has just been hot potato between people. Joe is on his second reign. Darby has had 2 reigns. Sammy's had 3. Cody has had, I think, 2 or 3.
He had 2, I believe. Yeah.
He had 3.
He had 3? Oh, that's right. Yes.
He had 3.
And I know it's just going to go to Wardlow. And then I think because they're probably doing the Wardlow versus Hobbs match on the Dynamite after Revolution. So, because I think that's how the trend has been so far for most of them, hasn't it?
I believe so, yes.
So that just means Wardlow is going to get not even a week reign, and he's going to be labeled as a 2-time. It just devalues the championship. I
feel like you have to hit a reset button after this match.
Mm-hmm. And I thought that was.
And I think that's where my statement comes in, to where you have Hobbs win it, hold it for a while, and possibly at All Out have him have a match with Ricky Starks.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's something I definitely agree with.
Yeah, that and then have Ricky Starks winning it All Out and hold on to it going into 2024.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that, to be honest with you, I think it's gonna be a great match, but I feel like it's got to be Wardlow, and hopefully he'll hold on to it for at least a month. I'm hoping give him some kind of decent reign before you plot Powerhouse Hobbs in there. I'll almost use it like a Money in the Bank kind of themed story where where you just have Powerhouse just hiding in the wings. Is he going to cash in? Is he going to cash in? That kind of moment where it's on his terms, not Wardlow's. And I think if you build it right, it'd be a good transition into Hobbs. And hopefully Hobbs will have it for at least a few months, because that championship used to mean something. And I feel like when they did the whole Wardlow, Darby, Joe, that whole hot potato between those guys, it kind of, like you guys said, it kind of devalued that championship a little bit.
I think it lost. I mean, you had Brody Lee had it for a while, and that it kind of built up, and then you had Cody getting it back, and kind of put more value on it. But then you had someone like, Sammy Guevara win it and actually have some, actually it was actually Miro who actually put more steam on that title But now, yeah, like Aiden said, it's just been hot potato too much to where it's like, can we just have someone hold that title for a little longer, please?
Yeah, I hope it's. I'm really hoping for the better on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's just been.
It's just hard to care about the championship, you know.
Almost the same thing with the TBS championship at this point. You know, it's just It's almost like how WWE did that for a while with the United States champion, the tag title is the what is their Intercontinental Championship? There you go. Where they did it with those, like where that second title too, like your main title was just used as a prop instead of a championship and prestige. There was nothing there with that. So I'm hoping that I need them to hit the reset button. I think this pay-per-view is going to be a huge reset button to AEW, and I think there's going to be a lot of big changes coming in after the show.
I think the problem is that we've said reset button for like the past few pay-per-views.
Yeah. We all thought Full Gear was going to be a reset, and it just seems like a lot of stories from that are just being rehashed.
Anyways, to give Tony some not excuse or anything, but he's got to make these mistakes, and hopefully it won't be too late time he realizes some of the mistakes he's making.
Hope so.
I don't want this company to fail. I love AEW.
Yeah.
I think they're still putting on great stories and matches every week. It's just most of this pay-per-view is kind of a rematch. But there's a few that I think will save it, or at least will help save it. So next one, let's go with the Trios champions. The Elite taking on the House of Black.
This is where you definitely need to pull the trigger and give the House of Black the titles. I mean, this group has been built tremendously for about a year and a half. When it all started with Malachi bringing in Brody King, and then out of nowhere, here comes Buddy Matthews. So now you have these three men who just, and then you add Julia Hart to it, and now you got a group that's just probably one of the best things going, I believe, in AEW. And honestly, I feel like this is where you pull the trigger and you give House of Black, their due and give them a title.
Yeah, I think you need to pull the trigger on it. I did like I love the dominance they've had lately, and I know it's like a short build, but I loved how they built this match. I feel like this was actually a really good build for 2 to 3 week build at that, because you had the House of Black static, part of the Elite video package, and then you had that whole attack on this Wednesday's Dynamite where it was just them coming out to do a promo. Lights go out, they attack the Elite. Lights go out again. They're holding the titles, and then you have that spooky vignette backstage. Did you guys like the build for this one, or do you think they should have done a little bit better with it? Like, what's your guys' take on it?
I am firmly against this build. It's I'm a little bit disappointed because there was, like, I just asked myself, what is House of Black's motivation for this attack against the Elite? And obviously you could say yes for the titles, but for a while, especially once they came back, it was against Brandon Cutler that they were like saying, oh, it's just the people you associate yourself with that are part of the problem. But like we still don't know what that problem is. And so I want to, maybe they'll like expand on it after this pay-per-view, but I really think they could have, if with given more time, they could have built a really like neat story with it. And at one point they also said, their House of Black said, pointing fingers while holding the shovel that dug the grave of others. They just did not get to elaborate on anything they meant by these like remarks. Is it like, when I heard that, I was like, is it possible they're talking about CM Punk? Because they're blaming CM Punk, even though you could maybe from their point of view, it was them who did something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it feels like it's never explained.
I agree with you on that. I feel like they could have gotten a little more explanation with things and fleshed out the story a little bit better. I feel like I think they will. I think this is just more of a starting off point. I don't think that we will get rematched with whoever wins this one. I really do think it's going to be House of Black winning the titles, though. on this match, but I feel like they're going to really flesh it out and actually have something happen with the Elite and House of Black, either for the next pay-per-view, or do we do Blood and Guts? Like, just where do we go from here with those trio titles where it means something? Because you had a great best of 7 series, with the Lucha Bros. So I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen with this one.
Yeah, I'm with Aiden on this one. I don't think it was the greatest of builds. I think you could have expanded on a lot of the backstory of why House of Black did target the Elite. I feel like this is just them just saying, okay, hey, we got 3 weeks for this match. Let's try to do something, and House of Black's going to win. I think this is just the time where the Elite kind of passed the trios titles to a team that that are well deserving of the titles, and can probably have some really good trios matches. I mean, you could see them maybe defending against Dark Order, because we can see, in my sense, I can kind of sense that the Dark Order is going back to their whole darker side of a group. So the matches you could have between Dark Order and House of Black would just be phenomenal with the trios titles, because you would have Reynolds, Silver, and I'm blanking on his name, Evil Uno, team up and take on the House of Black on a series of matches, and they'd all be really good.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this is, like I said, I really want House of Black to win this. I think it's got to be.
If I will say this, if House of Black doesn't win, this is just, and I'm not being a dick about it, just Elite burying teams, and that's unfair.
Yeah,
that's just my view. If the Elite do not allow the House of Black to win, then their Elites, all they're doing is getting more heat on themselves for not allowing other teams to shine.
Yeah, because I feel like they've kind of made amends a little bit with the fans, but this might just be bad.
I feel like it's just, if House of Black loses, they're just ultimate. There's nothing they can do. They didn't. Malachi Black failed to win the All Atlantic Championship. They couldn't beat Darby, Sting, and Miro at All Out. They miss Full Gear. They come back, lose on their return. It's not good. They can't get little broed so many times in a row.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. So House of Black in unanimous decision. All right. Okay, so next we have the 3-way for the Women's World Championship between Jamie Hayter, Saraya, and Ruby Soho.
I see Jamie Hayter retaining. I think she's got, they also got to set up the story of AEW Originals versus Invaders. I don't see Saraya winning that title at all, because of she's starting to come back a little bit in the ring, but she's still a little rusty to where you don't know where her injury is going to take her fully. One bad move and she may be out again, and you don't want to put the title on someone that has those issues. And Ruby, as much as I'd love to see her finally shine, because I used to see her on the Independents when she was Heidi Lovelace, and that persona. I've seen her at a couple of independent shows when she was in that character.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as much as I'd love to see her win it, I also don't think she will, because she also had that chance when Britt Baker was champion, and she came up short. So I see Jamie Hayter retaining, but also this setting up to finally seeing where Ruby actually has her alliance, whether with the Originals or with the Invaders.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hard to see anybody else winning this match. I think you need to have Hayter win a little bit more. I think you got to, before she loses the title, I think you got to give her that big run with the belt. I think if you book her to lose this match, I feel like this is just showing that you're burying your future, especially if Saraya wins this one. I think she will be champion eventually, but like Adam said, with her just coming back from injury and all this, I don't know. I don't think it's her time. I think if she does come back, this right here will push more of the fan base away from AEW.
Yeah, I think when I think of this match, I split it up into different percentages of people's chance to win. I think there's only one that has a 0% chance of winning, and that's sadly Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho is my favorite women's wrestler in AEW. I've gotten to see her versus Josh Alexander. I know I bring it up every time, but I love that match so much.
It's a good match.
It's very fun, but it's just this doesn't really make sense for her to have the title right now. I feel like it has to be someone who is going to be like a focal point of this AEW Originals versus Outsider storyline. And so when I tell myself that, I think there's an 80% chance that Hayter retains here. But there's still a scary 20% chance that Saraya wins. And I'm not saying scary because I dislike Saraya. It's just I don't think it's the right decision to put the belt on her because obviously you guys were talking about her injuries, and just B, I think Hayter is it might be the best wrestler in the women's division right now. So I think she should keep the belt for a bit longer, plus to establish it more.
No, and I agree, because looking at the women's division right now, I feel like there's a lot more stories being told with the women's division. And I feel like there's a lot more momentum shifting their way to where Kenny said it best on his podcast with Renee Young, that these women are starting to gun for the men's spot in the cards. And if they can keep this up, I hope that we see more stories like this with the women's division. I feel like there's so much to be told, and I do feel like it's kind of a negative, even though I don't like the championship, but having that TBS title not on the card right now, unless they do a surprise, match, tomorrow, where where Jade comes out and challenges, does an open challenge. So yeah, it's I'm really hoping for the win in this match. Hayter needs to retain. Like I said, I think she needs to retain in this one.
And that's another thing too, because I guess I almost sent you guys another article that I read, that the reason why we're not seeing Rebel right now is because she was more so of like a player in like the heelish tactics of Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, but now the focus, I guess, is they're trying to keep Hayter and Britt faces right now, so they really don't need Rebel. But yeah, no, I do think I'm with Aiden on that one. There is that percentage that Saraya may win the title, but again, that's just going to draw your fan base away.
I think it's just like, have y'all seen the rating spikes when Saraya's on? So, she has been drawing, so that's why it's scary. But I don't think Tony Khan is one to just automatically go with whoever draws the most, so that's why it's comforting to know that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think this is going to lead into something bigger. I think we're going to see hints of a heel turn or, a turn on from Britt. I think that will be another key point coming out of this match, but I think they're going to wait until after like a Blood and Guts or a Originals versus Outsiders match.
I mean, I can see this, if rumors are true and talks of it, I could see this to where you have Ruby aligning herself with Britt, Jamie, and possibly Sheeta, and have those four women take on, Tony Storm, Saraya, maybe Athena, and then a surprise Mercedes Moné at a Forbidden Door in a cool 8-woman tag match. I mean, that could be. Then you got all these. Now you got all the women on all those 8 women on the card at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, that'd be a cool way to do it, especially because last year, where there was only one women's match on Forbidden Door, or was there 2?
I think there was only one.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember who the match was, but I feel like now with Monet being part of New Japan, I feel like that's going to be. I think that's going to be something big with Forbidden Door Part 2. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow with this match, and hopefully our worst nightmare will not come true. Just good to see Ruby Soho in a full-on match again. That's for sure. It's good to see her actually be in a title picture, even though it might just be brief. All
yeah,
right.
you only had one last year on that. You had Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yes. All right. And then we have the Texas Death Match between Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley. So great. I think this would be a great way to finish off the story. I think the video package for this is going to be super amazing. I feel like this is going to really sell the match. Actually, probably one of the better builds on this card, my professional opinion. So, who do you guys see coming out of this Texas Death Match as a champion, or not champion, but as the winner?
This is a toss up. You could go with either guy, because either guy, I mean, Moxley's had a hell of a year. Stepping up during the whole all out scrum and stepping in to be AEW champion until MJF took the title. I mean, but I feel like this is a time where you could let Hangman Page win a big pay-per-view match, because we've seen through the year Jon Moxley win some decent big-time pay-per-view matches. So, and I think it's been a while since we've seen Page win a big-time pay-per-view match. So I think this is where you give Page the win. I would be okay with either guy winning, just because I like both of the guys. I like both wrestlers. But I probably feel more that this is the time where they give Hangman Page a pay-per-view win.
Yeah. What about you, Aiden? What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think this one's going to Hangman just because, Mox has beaten him twice, and then Hangman's beaten him once. But I think that because if you're not counting the first one where Mox knocked him out, I think it should count. I think it makes a better story of Hangman got knocked out by Moxley. He wasn't prepared for how dangerous he actually is. But I think that if Hangman wins here, it could be a huge boost to his confidence. And that boost in confidence can lead him to coming back to the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega after they lose their titles, where the Young Bucks and Kenny might be in one of their lowest places after losing, and then Hangman might be in one of his best after beating Moxley.
I like that. I too have Hangman winning this one. I think Moxley's due for a vacation, hopefully. Hopefully he doesn't have to bleed as much on this vacation. Because this is going to be a bloodbath. I want to see barbed wire. I want to see glass light tubes, forks. I want to see just everything be thrown at these two guys. I want them to outgross each other when it comes to this. I want to see like how far they can take this match. Like I said, Hangman has to win this. He has to win this. Like, they caught lightning in a bottle with this story just from an accidental knockout. So I think Hangman's going to stand tall with this one. And like Aiden said, I think after the Elite lose, if that's the direction, I think this will be a good way to, mend that friendship again.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of craziness through the arena in this match. You're going to see a lot of crazy spots as well. So I'm actually looking forward to watching this match. I know we've seen Hangman in a numerous Texas Death Match, Texas Death Matches. Has Moxley have a Texas Death Match? I felt like he has.
Yeah, he had it with Archer here in Dallas.
He lost that one.
Hangman. That was Hangman.
No, he also had one for the United States for the IWGP US title.
Oh, you're right. You're right with the IWGP. Okay, that was the different promotion. That's right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so this is gonna be just so much fun. I'm excited for this one. To be honest with you, I think this one actually might steal the show. I think this is gonna be the most talked about match, aside from the main event. So, yeah, I feel like Hangman's got this one. What do you guys think, Hangman or Mox?
I say Hangman.
Hangman.
Awesome. All right, and now it comes down to the main event. Man, this is going to be a long one. I hope you guys are going to drink your monsters and energy drinks for this one. The biggest story going into AEW right now, we have MJF, the king of AEW, the world heavyweight champion, going up against the challenger, the Dragon. He is the greatest Ring of Honor world champion, Bryan Danielson. This is going to be a great match. I'm excited to see how it goes and to see what break spots they're going to have in there for the fans to catch their breaths, because both these guys look incredible going into this match. Do you guys think that this is a great call for them to do a 1 hour Iron Man match?
I do.
Yeah. Go ahead, Aiden.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. Go.
But I think MJF is so, I don't want to say slept on in the ring, because every time he wrestles, people are like, oh man, he's so good. But I think it's like people are just like, oh, I just want to see him wrestle a lot more. And so what's more than, having an actual match that is just going to be 1 hour long? I'm just very excited to see how this match ends, because I predict that MJF is going to win, but I don't know how. I don't know if it goes to like an overtime and where it goes to a sudden death. I don't know if it's like Danielson trying to tap him out at the last possible minute, but he just doesn't give in. There's so many ways that it can go, and I'm very excited to see.
Yeah, no, I'm with Aiden on this one. We finally get to see MJF at his peak in this match, just because of so many people saying like we don't see MJF wrestle a lot. I mean, Bully Ray says it on Busted Open all the time. He goes, "I want to see more MJF matches." You don't see a lot of MJF matches, and I mean, if you've seen some of the posts that MJF have made. The guy is ripped. He is probably in one of the best shapes of his life right now.
Oh, this is the best shape he's ever been in.
I've never seen him in a shape like this, and he looks ready to go. So I also do see MJF winning. I don't know how he's going to win. Whether there's going to be times where there's going to be near falls and time is starting to go down to where he goes to his heel tactic of grabbing the ropes and having the ref push Bryan away until time runs out for the hour draw, or whether he finds some cheating tactic to score the pinfall right before the time's up. So I mean, it's going to be a great match. This is probably going to be one of the best matches MJF has in AEW.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is going to be his proving point for sure, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen with this one. I don't know. It's just I can't see him losing. All I know is going out of this, what's next for Bryan Danielson, and who will be the next challenger for MJF. That's what I see. They're both going to be super strong. I feel like this is going to be one of the best Iron matches of not just AEW, but of either company.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I'm not shitting on the Iron Man match that Bret Hart and
I love Bret Michaels.
I love Bret Michaels. It's not shitting on that Iron Man match that they had. I mean, that one was a classic. But this one is just going to be, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like a modern day, like just blood, sweat, and tears kind of Iron Man match where both men are going to just give everything they can until, both of them are breathing heavy at the end and are just both exhausted. So yeah, no. And with MJF, I mean, you've got either, I mean, you saw it with Danielson and Page and Danielson and Omega, where they had time limit draws. I mean, especially with Page, Danielson wrestled Page twice, and they were both good matches. So I can probably see this match going to MJF and then having one more match at All In.
That'd be cool. Great. Yeah, I think that'd be great. And then have a good build and then go from there.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that was the full card.
You're missing one.
I'm missing one?
You're missing one. You're missing the 0 hour pre-match of Briscoe brothers and
I forgot about
the Lucha brothers.
dang it, because I forgot about that one. And then okay, so all right, we're gonna go into the 0 hour now because I guess it would help if I scroll all the way down to see the 0 hour card. We have 2 matches on 0 hour. We have Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Bros versus Ari Daivari and the Varsity Athletes. I feel like this one's kind of one-sided. I think the Briscoes and Lucha Bros are going to win this one.
Oh yeah. No, this is definitely a Briscoe, Mark Briscoe, Lucha Brothers win right there for them. Yep.
Definitely agree. They're even featured on Dark, I think, either tonight or tomorrow, or something
sweet.
to prepare for the match. Yeah.
And then, I forgot. There's the Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio and Wheeler Yuta versus Dark Order's John Silver and Alex Reynolds.
I mean, as much as I'd like to see Dark Order steal a win here just to get some momentum and just see Dark Order and Paige sweep the night, I do probably see Yuta and Claudio winning this one.
Nice.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I think I think that one's. I think it's gonna be Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. Like I think there's gonna be something with the Dark Order that's gonna kind of lead into after this. At least that's how my fantasy brain has been working. But who knows? Because us wrestling fans overpredict everything apparently. So I think this is gonna be. I think this is gonna be a fun little pre-show. Hopefully they have one more match announced. Do you guys have any predictions on maybe people coming back tomorrow or maybe a surprise match that will be announced?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is like we've been talking about, maybe an FTR appearance showing up after the tag team match. And then maybe a Jade Cargill surprise open challenge.
I can see
and
that.
That's about it. I mean, I'm just expecting, just because that 1 hour Iron Man match, I'm not expecting a lot. A lot of debuts or returns or surprises like that.
Yeah. What about you, Aiden?
I think this is just going to be just a pure card. I don't really see. I could see, like we said, maybe FTR. I don't see CM Punk coming back quite yet. I don't see Mercedes Moné. I don't see
Moné either. No.
I don't see Chris Statlander coming back yet. If anything is added in the next, I guess today leading up to the day of the pay-per-view, it would probably be Swerve versus Keith Lee, but they didn't announce that yesterday, so I doubt that it's gonna be on.
Which I'm kind of disappointed that story didn't make it onto the card.
I agree. I think both guys deserve a spot. Swerve has been phenomenal. I think Swerve can be one of AEW's top heels. Once MJF is being for the championship, he can take that spot. I
agree. The only thing I can see is I can see Swerve and Keith Lee being announced. The other thing the one that I'm leaning towards, besides the FTR, is Chris Statlander, just because they put out a shirt that has the revolutionary kind of font and logo with for her. And then the other thing is she's been there the last couple of days. She's doing some charity stuff. She's doing a bowling thing for, I think, children's cancer or something with children. So I can see Chris Statlander coming back tomorrow.
I don't think if you do, I don't think you see her getting an action, but you see her as an appearance.
Yeah,
you kind of maybe you get a segment where, Jade appears but not defend the title, but say at the next pay-per-view, All In or something like that. I'm looking for someone that can beat me finally, and then maybe you could see Chris Statlander's on the stage.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right. Well, that is going to do it for our prediction show here on the All Elite Zones Talking Elite. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Make sure you guys leave a comment down below what match you guys are looking forward to. I know for me, I am looking forward to the Texas Death Match. I think that one's going to be my favorite match on the card. Before we head off, what about you guys? What is your favorite match prediction going to be? Or show stealer?
I'm gonna go. I'm probably gonna go with. I'm tied. I'm gonna go either with the main event between MJF and Bryan Danielson, or I'm going to go with the trios tag team match.
I was going to say the trios tag team match or the buried match, the buried alive match.
Yes.
Between Jungle Boy and Christian Cage.
It's like I said, it's going to be a fun pay-per-view. On paper, it sounds like it's going to be killer. And hopefully hopefully after this, they just get, I know we said it before with the, with Full Gears, but we just got to keep the momentum going. And hopefully this pay-per-view will go off and be one of the best ones in the last couple of years. Because I think this one's got something special with it. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited for it. All right.
Same.
Well, we'll be back here Tuesday night, starting our Tuesday night regularly. We're going to be doing Talking Elite on Tuesday because the Ring of Honor being on Thursday night. This Tuesday, we are having a two-part episode. Aiden is a mad genius. He'll be co-hosting this show, and we'll be doing a Jeopardy/trivia night on Tuesday, where he'll test our knowledge with AEW and wrestling in general. So I am super stoked and excited for that, Aiden. Thank you so much for putting that together.
I love me some trivia, so this is going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. And we'll also go over some, we won't go into full detail with every match on the card, but we will also discuss what our favorite key moments going out of the pay-per-view was, and if it kind of lives up to our expectations. And then we'll also be back, of course, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night next week for both Dynamite, Rampage, and the Ring of Honor and watch-alongs. So make sure you guys subscribe for that. We do watch-alongs every week if you're a brand new listener. We also do Talking Elite, of course, every week. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up in the works. Aiden has put a lot of work into booking Elite. So go check out episode 1. It is a great, especially if you want to go see how he would have booked Full Gear, him and Connor. So go check that out on our social media and our YouTube channel. Also, make sure you like us on Spotify, Podbean, wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on Twitter at All Elite Zone 1. Follow us on Facebook at All Elite Zone. We have announcements all the time coming up. So hope you guys enjoy the show today. Adam, Aiden, is there anything you want to add before we sign off?
No,
I think I'm all good.
Just hope everybody enjoys the pay-per-view tomorrow like us.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you guys for coming on. My panel is always amazing. Aiden and Adam, you guys are amazing, incredible minds. Thank you guys so much for joining me on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. And everybody listening, thank you guys so much for watching Talking Elite. This is one of the most consistent podcasts when it comes to listeners. So I appreciate you guys and love you guys. So make sure you guys check us back for Tuesday, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace.